So in the UK, in the West, that's where I've spent all my life. And during my time, I thought that I had everything figured out. What actually started happening was that I started to agree with the cultural norms in the UK, in the West. At a certain degree, I started to think that it was okay. But then when I went to Kenya, it's given me something more, something more emotionally, mentally, that's actually impacted me in a positive way compared to when I was in the UK. This actually opened up my eyes to make me believe that there's something more to the UK, to the US, and there's actually better places out there that I can go where I would feel wanted, I would feel like I belong. So I know some people in the UK and the US where you feel like you're in a society where it's very individualistic, if that's how you say it, society where it's only me, me, me. There's no sense of community. You're pretty much by yourself. You could be left on the road with no money, no food, and no one is going to help you in the UK, in the US. And this is why the UK, the US is falling behind in terms of building on the current development of the country. This is the reason why it's falling behind countries like Ghana, like Kenya, because Kenya is still building, still developing, and it's even got to a level where the infrastructure is the same or even similar to the UK or to the US. We're going to see the roles being reversed, where countries like the UK, the US are going to become third world countries, and countries in Africa, like let's say Ghana, Kenya, are going to be up there, are going to be above the Western countries. And I know if you're a guy or a woman in the UK or the US, this is going to make you question yourself, to make you ask, is the UK, is the US the right place for me? Because that's the question that I had to ask when I had the thought of, is Kenya gonna offer me something more than the UK? One of the things that Kenya offered me that the UK could not was the level of peace. Because when I'm in Nairobi, I don't have to worry about driving the most luxurious cars, wearing expensive clothes to fit in. For me, Nairobi was a place where I could pretty much just be who I am. I don't have to pretend and fake a smile or pretend to be someone that I'm not. In Nairobi, you're not really going to be seeing that many Lambos. So I'm not saying that Nairobi doesn't have any nice cars or luxurious cars like Lambos. I'm just saying that you don't have the pressure to fit in. You don't need to do too much because people are already going to welcome you. Just knowing that I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that to fit in. Just having that sense of peace, it gives me mental clarity, knowing that whatever I do, I'm not going to be looked at as, why is this guy wearing that? Why is this guy wearing this? And I'm not saying go out on the street and dress homeless. I'm not saying that. Whereas in Western countries, it's all about how much money can you make. If I'm not making 10 grand a month, I'm not doing well for myself. So it's all about that kind of mindset. And in the UK, we live in a society, in the US as well, and other countries, we live in a society where you have to be driving the nicest cars to impress women and get their attention, And in the UK, yeah, you could still be driving a nice car, but you're still gonna have to deal with the flaking, women not showing up on dates, not replying to messages. So basically being rude. And I'm not saying all women are like that. I'm just saying some, okay? and it's what you're gonna face in the UK and the US. Also, something that Kenya gave me that the UK could never in a billion years was the authenticity of people's emotions. So what do I mean by this? So what I mean is that people are not going to fake their emotions. They're not going to be waving at you, pretending to actually want to talk to you. They're not going to see you on the street and say, oh, hello, hello, and actually pretend. No, 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 no. They're going to say hello and they're actually going to mean it. They're not going to be pretending. They're not going to be faking how they're feeling. They're always going to be real with you 100% of the time. When I was talking to a Kenyan, it felt like I was actually being listened to. People actually cared about what I had to say. In the UK, you would see people faking their emotions, being afraid to actually express themselves, being very distant and cold at times. You could say, hello, how are you doing today? And then they would say, oh, hello, hello, hello. But in reality and inside, they do not care about you. They only care about themselves. And that is the individualistic, not helping the community. That's where it all comes from. And this plays down to the level of customer service. In the UK, if you go to a restaurant, they're going to pretty much say, oh, hello, here's your food. But they don't really mean it. They're just following orders. But if you go to Kenya, and you experience the level of customer service, they're going to ask you, oh, hello, how can I help you today? Sometimes they're even going to help you open the bottle without you asking. But in the UK, you have to ask people to do everything. So just reflecting on how Kenya gave me something more, in terms of, the positive impact that it's had on my life compared to the UK, made me realize that, hold on, wait a minute, this actually matters, because I wanted to actually find out and get to the bottom of what I was experiencing in Kenya. Why was I experiencing so many people being kind, being polite to me? I thought it was just a one time thing. But then when I started to actually experience, the level of togetherness that the Kenyans have on a daily basis, and them being able to actually show their true emotions, actually want to be nice, to be polite to you. This made me realize that this is where I need to be. This is where I belong. I want to be surrounded by people that are actually polite and nice, because that will just uplift me in wanting to do so many things with my life in a positive way. So yeah, if you feel like you've been in the same position as me in Kenya, in Nairobi, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and also comment down below what you think, And yeah, peace.